Today, I'm going to share with you guys one of the hardest lessons that I learned as a people pleaser. When I was younger, I used to think that I am choosing love, but in reality, I was just choosing fear. I thought that when I am shrinking myself, when I am not shining as bright as I should be, and I'm allowing somebody else to feel superior, to feel better about themselves, that I am being kind, that I am being a good person. But truthfully, hi guys, this is Nazneen. For those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. I share videos just like this every week. So if you want more, subscribe so you do not miss out on any more valuable information. Also, if you are tired of choosing people in situations that are costing you your self-respect, I do offer one-on-one private clarity sessions for men and women who are ready to stop making excuses for people who do not deserve them and finally choose differently. So if that sounds like you, apply for a private clarity session. The link is down below. Now let's get back into the video. I was being somebody who was afraid of getting rejected, who was afraid to get abandoned, who was afraid of disappointing people, who was afraid of not being enough, who was afraid of not being pretty enough. What will I do? Who will I be if nobody loves me? I'm going to be alone. But that made me needy, because in order for me to feel loved, I need to take something from you. I need to get something from you. It's an exchange of services. And that is not what love is. Love is just unconditional love and acceptance for who you are. And of course, I know some relationships, they don't work out, but you can still love that person. You can still respect that person. You can still send them blessings. Just because you divorce somebody doesn't mean that you have to hate them or disrespect them. You can still love them and value them. You just, don't want to live in the same house, and that is okay. When I was younger, I thought I had to look a certain way. I thought I had to walk a certain way. I thought I had to have a certain accent. My hair needed to look a certain way. My lashes needed to look a certain way. And it just hurts me to think that I ever thought like that, because I just want to go back and I do visualizations of this all the time where I go and I give her a big hug. And it just sucks that so many women, younger women, even older women. And recently I thought about this, just my personal experience, that I never truly understood men, because my dad never, he wasn't emotionally available. He could not deal with seeing any sort of emotion that was coming out of me, whether I was crying, I was sad, I was angry, whatever it was. He just couldn't deal with it. He didn't know what to do. It would make him very, very uncomfortable, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of dads out there that struggle with this, and that's okay. But at the same time, I dealt with, a dad who didn't know how to deal with this emotions, and I couldn't really connect with him spiritually. And at the same time, he kept on telling me how, scary men are, and men are going to rape you and they're going to kill you, and you need to be careful of this, and you need to look at this, and you need to be and so I'm, in one hand, I cannot connect to the first man that I'm meant to connect with. And then secondly, I'm getting all this fear that is thrown into my lap about men. So then we are telling women, when you're 21, 22, go trust men, go date, go love, find love. But it's like subconsciously you have been taught all of this BS. And again, yes, there are some men out there that are dangerous. That's a fact. And unfortunately, that's how it is, right? I mean, until we move to a different dimension. But for now, that is where we are. But looking back, I realized that was one of my issues. I just did not know what men wanted. And so I would do whatever they wanted because I didn't know what they wanted. I didn't really know who I was. And that's the biggest thing. If you ever have kids or teenagers, the first thing you want to figure out is, who are you? Lion King. Let everyone watch Lion King, because I showed it to my daughter a week back or so, and I'm always telling her, who are you? Who are you? And then we're just trying to figure it out. And I still ask that to myself, who are you? And I know it's such an easy question, but a lot of us don't know the answer to it. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because A lot of us women, we don't realize this when we're an adult. We don't realize, wait, what is it, my conditioning? What have I believed in the past? Because we just straight go to dating and we get intimate and we don't understand what love is, what men are, what are men's, what do they value? What are their intentions? What, makes a man happy? Not just, all that stuff, but what truly makes a man happy? And I'll give you an answer for that. What makes a man happy is peace. And of course, if a man is cheating and he has all those other issues, we're not talking about that. I'm just talking about a man who's simple. He goes to work. He wants to look after his family. He wants to build a legacy, whatever, that is for him. Most of them just want peace. They want a peace of mind. And also, most of them don't want those big ass, thick ass lashes because they look crazy, okay? And the only reason I'm saying this is because I really would, put all this makeup on and hair, do my hair and my lashes and all this stuff. It's like, it was crazy because the times that I would have no makeup on, that is when all these men would, start hitting on me. But the times that I have makeup on, nobody is even looking. It was the weirdest thing. And the lesson here is that real love is actually much harder because it requires enough self-worth to tell the truth, to be able to create boundaries, to be able to disappoint people, because this was my biggest lesson, is because I never wanted to disappoint anybody and I wanted to make everybody happy. But that is another delusional thought. It's impossible to make every single person happy. And also still stay open instead of reacting or trying to control the outcome. That was my biggest lesson in life, is that the moment that I'm trying to control the outcome, I have lost the game. I have become weak. I am not choosing love anymore. I'm not trusting. I don't have faith anymore. And I have been in this position many of times where I'm just trying to control the outcome because I'm afraid if that doesn't come true, then I won't feel whole. I will feel insecure. I will feel not enough. And that is the unknown that most humans don't want to be in. In order to love yourself, which also enables you to love other people, it requires you to tell the truth about what you actually feel is happening, how you want to operate, what you think is wrong, what you think is right, and not allowing this outside noise, what he, she, they are saying to you, to come in the way of all of this. That was my biggest takeaway. Because I used to put other people up on a pedestal and I used to be down here. So I never really listened to myself, when in reality, God is in all of us. So we all have the answers. And you know how I know this is when I coach people and I always tell them, you don't even need me. You're your own coach. And I ask them, they ask me a question and I ask them back to them. I ask the same question back to them. And they have all this wisdom and knowledge that is coming out of, I'm like, what? Where did you... They're like, oh yeah, this. I'm like, you know this information, but you're just not, or you're choosing to not take the step. You're choosing to remain stuck. So it's not that you don't know the information. You know what you need to do. You just don't want to do it. And true love is knowing that you are going to disappoint people. I'm going to disappoint my daughter in some way or shape or form. I'm sure she's going to tell me about it later down the line. That, Mom, I wish you did this. And you didn't. And I'm disappointed, whatever. And I have to accept that. You know what? I see that and I value your honesty. But if I'm going to be in, I remember saying something to my dad like ages ago and I told him like, this is how I felt. And he totally invalidated what I just said. And I think that is, again, I didn't, take it too personally, but I'm just saying that if you ever have a kid and your kid later down the line is telling you like, this hurt me or whatever it is, and the fact that you, even if it's not true, that is their version of the story, and you still have to validate how they are feeling, regardless if it's true or not, or maybe you had something going on in your head, and that is a separate story. First, let's deal with the story at hand, which is that is their experience. They've come to you with it. Now let's talk about it. And then we can get into, okay, let's talk about the details. Let's see where I was in that scenario and talk about it. I think that's the best way to get through life, is to talk about things. and own your shit. And when I was younger, I used to be so reactive. Like if someone was rude or disrespectful, or even my dad, he would drive me nuts. And I would constantly want to argue with my dad. I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm an Aquarius and he's a Pisces. So there's something there. I don't know, Aquarius and Pisces, I don't know if we get along. I mean, I get along with them, but to a certain degree, then I'm like, okay, you got to cut this off. And what I realized as well is that this has a lot to do with your nervous system. Because growing up, as I told you guys a million times by now, but my atmosphere was very chaotic, loud, just it was a lot. And I didn't have a lot of peace, right? So my nervous system is used to that sort of environment. And then I get into a relationship where most probably the dynamic is going to be similar, because you haven't learned my lessons yet, or I'm on the way of learning it. And so then I'm reacting to the same way that I would react to my mom or my dad, but they are taking the brunt of it. And of course, there's a reason, it's a whole loop that we're in. But the more that I've worked on grounding myself, meditating, and again, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but this is the solution here, is grounding yourself, meditation, and also journaling. These three things have changed my life. And let me add one more: nature. Being in nature, like before when I was younger, you would find me in malls. I would just be in malls. I would want to go shopping because again, everything is external, right? It's like, what can I get? What can I get? And that was my experience back then. But after I turned 30, and especially when I had my baby, I cannot, like, either I'm at home, I'm out at a coffee shop or dinner, or I'm out in nature. Like nature is the shit for me. Like I do not feel like when I'm feeling uneasy, anxious, whatever, frustrated. Oh, I forgot the gym. The gym is a big one. Or I go in nature. And it has changed my life. And like, for example, just the other day I was with somebody who, I'm not going to say who it is, but I said something and they said something. When you what is it? You say something in your breath, like you whisper something, but you don't want them to know what you said, but it's like a little backhand comment. And usually I would get very frustrated with that sort of type of person. But I was in such a shock with myself. Like when that happened, I was just like, and of course, I don't want to, this person is someone that is in my family, right? So, and of course, if there's any sort of clear disrespect, I'm going to handle it. And when that happened, my nervous system was so calm and I didn't even feel the need to like correct them or say something. I just like, that's on them. Like people that, say little things, it's like they need to get it out of their system. Let them say it and whatever. And that is my energy now, which is not like I have not been like this before. So that's a transformation on its own. And I'm not saying to accept disrespect, but what I've learned is to choose your battles wisely. When you want to say something, you got to say it. And of course, you got to say it with love and care and compassion. Because back in the day, whenever I had a conflict, I always felt like I'm going to lose this conflict. I'm going to lose this battle. And so I would want to raise my voice. I would want to say mean things back. And it's like, I'm going to lose anyways because of my tactics. This is not a good way to argue somebody. It's not a good way to have an argument. And even if I win, I'm like, I did so much. And it's like, it harms my body. My nervous system feels tense. And so I had to learn a different way to have an argument, to communicate my feelings to somebody that might not want to listen to it, or somebody that might say something back that is a bit disrespectful. And so I learned that I still say what I have to say, but I don't have to stoop down to their energy, to their level, because that is what this is just what life is. You're gonna get tested all the time, where people are trying to get you all wrapped up and consumed, especially the news and YouTube. That's a whole different story. There's a lot of news on YouTube, which sometimes I do appreciate, but I had to remove all of it because it was making me feel so tense and giving me so much anxiety. And again, not saying that, whoever's posting it, I was able to watch that kind of content, good for you. But for me, I had to remove it all. Oof. That's all I wanted to share for this video. I hope that you guys took some good nuggets or whatever that's popped out to you, and you use it in your real life. And I don't want these videos to be like, oh yeah, I heard that and that was great. But no, I want you to use it and actually put it in action instead of just watching a bunch of information. Because again, a lot of people do this as well, myself included, where I watch all this amazing information and then I'm like, I'm still stuck. Let's put it to work. I love you guys, and I will see you guys on the next one.